This is the 161st episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first week of December 2013. This episode is titled Turkey Hack Dreams. CloudFocus Week is brought to you by Arkus, specializing in Salesforce implementations, consulting, and Force.com development. Search for Arkus, A-R-K-U-S, on the App Exchange and read what our clients have to say about us. I am your host, Jason Howard, and joining me is the co-host, Justin Edelstein. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just great. I'm feeling rested. This is our first podcast since Dreamforce.
It is.
We did 2 at Dreamforce. We took the week off last week for Thanksgiving, to catch up from Dreamforce, and it was a short week. We had some turkey.
True.
So I'm feeling rested, feeling ready to go. It's a Friday afternoon. This is one of my preferred podcasting times.
I don't like it. It's too late.
I like it.
I feel like people...
Because I feel like the week is kind of over, and now I've just got podcasting to do, which is a fun part of the job.
I like Wednesday better. I like Wednesday because then it's like middle of the week, you can get it out and people can hear it. Because now, basically, people are left their jobs.
These are everlasting, these podcasts.
People
go back. They listen.
That's true.
I think people go back and listen all the way back to episode 1. I'm going to do that one day just to reminisce.
I've listened to episode 1 a couple times.
I have not.
It's pretty good. Sounds exactly the same.
Really?
Not really.
I imagine it does not.
I think, didn't we used to talk in the same mic?
Yes.
We used to have like one mic.
The one that I'm sitting in front of.
Yes, and talk into it.
We both talked into it from across the table.
Well, speaking of talking into things, today we have an agenda. We have 2 blog posts that have come up since we have done it. We have your Dreamforce 13 recap, and we also have the keeping the momentum going, or keeping the momentum after Dreamforce 13 blog posts, both up at some point on blog.argusinc.com.
They're there.
I'm literally watching the server reboot as we speak, so
they're there. I promise.
It's in the cloud. Our web server's in the cloud, and the cloud is raining. So by the time you listen to this, I will have either spent all night getting it back up and running, or I'll be crying. But it should be back up. The joke is we got the alert right before we went on the podcast, and we're like, should we podcast while the server's down, or should we just... So because of you, our audience, we are podcasting while the server's down. I'm literally on chat with Rackspace as we sit watching my server reboot. All right, so let's kick into it. Why don't you talk a little bit about your blog?
Yeah, my blog.
If you can remember it, because you can't access it.
It was a while ago. Well, I have it in front of me.
In docs,
I can read it. It's my recap of Dreamforce 13. Which I'm proud to say, that thing in the Salesforce success community that someone writes up, the goodies?
Yes, the goodies.
So this blog post made the goodies.
Yes.
Which I was very
happy
and proud about.
Retweeted or repushed the goodies
I might have
times.
shared it a few times, liked it, posted on it, commented on it.
The success community is really getting there. It's becoming a real... they have, how many? It's 900,000 people.
Over 900,000. Who's going to be the millionth is the question.
I don't know. Will they win $1 million?
Probably
for
not.
That hackathon?
Maybe
Probably
they'll
not.
share $1 million. So I wrote a little recap. The highlights. Salesforce One, obviously. The opening keynote. I made the whole Back to the Future theme with Huey Lewis and Parker coming out as Doc Emmett Brown and doing his thing, and I kind of likened it to going way back into the the 50s and thinking about a retail store that you walk in your community and they know your name. It's like Cheers, everyone knows your name, and
everybody
you walk in,
knows your name,
right, like that, and then getting away from that as businesses grew bigger and big box retail stores, and not really, everything's a chain and nobody knows who you are when you walk in the door, and you're just an anonymous person it's a very much a one-to-many relationship with the company. The company's just blasting stuff out at their customers and consumers, and I think Salesforce is trying to bring us back to the one-to-one communication using technology, which that's what I really took out of the keynote and the Salesforce One platform announcement, was trying to get back to that, the good old days of bringing us back to the future, of having that one-to-one communication.
It's funny because I didn't get that.
That's what I got.
I did not. I did not get the one-to-one stuff.
That was a big theme. I'm surprised you didn't catch that.
No, I got more of that. Our future is mobile, and we are going to go back and take everything. More of the Back to the Future for me was bringing everything that they've done, all the custom development, the visual force, the page layouts, the record types, Apex, and bring all that and applications, the App Exchange, stuff that's been going on for the last, 13, 14 years, and bring it all to the future and the future being mobile and the future being Salesforce One. The one-to-one stuff, I think I know there's the stories they tell at Dreamforce. I think there's a piece to it. I think, I don't know. I every time they demo it or something, I look at that and I go, yeah, it looks so slick when you demo it. I just don't know anybody who's really doing it in that kind of thing. And
funny that you say that, because usually we're opposite on that.
Come on, that demo all the 200 points of data for Sony PS4 players. Where's that 200 pieces of data coming from?
You and I are usually so diametrically on the opposite side of this scenario, where during the keynotes, Salesforce has a tendency of really using that safe harbor statement to the fullest and really showing you stuff that you may never, ever, ever see ever, and creating scenarios of like, could you imagine really a guy standing at a bus stop that's talking to him, or, a Google Glass technician needing to walk in somewhere where a technician needing to wear Google Glass and walking in to open up a side panel and have to have a conversation about the fact that something's unplugged, plug it in.
You just use $15 million of technology to plug in a plug.
Yeah. So, but usually you and I'm usually the pessimist on those things.
I'm not a pessimist on it. I'm not a pessimist I just didn't get that from the keynote. I got that from mobile, the keynote. Salesforce One, the one truth. The one is the connecting of all the mobile.
I'm not actually using the one-to-one to say that's what Salesforce One is. I'm not making that correlation. I'm just saying I feel like the message of Dreamforce was that everyone's connected, and there are better ways to stay connected in a more personable way to your customers, and we're bringing that to you.
So here's a little example, though. So someone when was it? Was it during before which session did they get up and they do the question and answer? Oh, they're waiting for Marissa Myers, right?
Waiting for Marissa, yeah.
And they got up and they did
We waited for a half hour for Marissa.
One person got up and said, they were talking about the diamond company, and they're saying, how do you get notified when someone walks into the family person walks into your branch in Bogota. I don't know, I just made that up.
You're making things up.
And they walk in and you know that they're there. Because one of the things that they said was, when you walk into our branch or our stores, we know who you are, and we can, and we know that you're there, and we can, talk to you as a person. I know how you know who they are, because when they walk in, you type in a thing and you look, oh, Mr. Atwood, right? But what I felt was coming across a little bit was, we got beacon technology, we have presence, you've checked in, Foursquare, right? We know you before you've walked in. I don't have to look you up in my system. I can go, as you approach the counter, it tells me Jason Atwood has arrived, right? Without having to mention anything, facial recognition. The technology's there. In fact, in the hackathon, they showed one of these things where
Kyle Roche showed one,
was showing this stuff. So then he answered. He said, "Well, how do you know the people were there at your thing?" And the answer was that he said, "Oh, they'll send me an email that the person has walked in."
I feel like he didn't answer that. I feel like he missed that, because I feel like the answer is someone chatters that they were there. And I feel like he just missed that.
Because he gets the chatter.
Because he gets the chatter in his email. I feel like that's actually how it happens. So it's not automatic.
So they chatter that someone walked into a thing in.
Because I feel like in that business, it's made it seem like that business is so, their customers are so prestige, right? This is a big diamond dealer that
Sean Penn walked into the branch in
precisely
in Fifth Avenue.
Right.
Chatter.
He's here looking for some diamond. Let me look at my inventory and see where it might be, kind of situation. I'm trying to see the, I'm trying to look past how he might have misspoke, because sending an email is certainly not the right answer, and that's probably not what Mark Benioff wanted to hear as the answer to that question. Now, did they make it look like, everything's super automated and someone walks into a store and it just all of a sudden chatter messages go off? Yeah, that's not happening.
Right. I guess that's sort of the thing.
I think it could, though.
So to me, and again, I think we talked. Well, we didn't talk about after we went to the last session, right? We haven't had a podcast.
No, we have
since.
not had and I think that's like the last part of my
moving
recap, which is the Mark and Parker session.
So do not go to Dreamforce ever again if you don't go to the session.
Yeah,
I'm saying it now.
The Mark and Parker,
but go very late so I can get in early. Do not go at the time.
Make sure
that
you
I'm
get
going.
there early. So
I will never not go to one again.
No,
I don't care
neither.
what's going on.
It's probably the best. An offhanded Mark Benioff is one of the best speakers you'll ever see. He's just fantastic off the cuff.
He is, and I think I mentioned this in the podcast before, but I'm going to because I'm doing a loop on this, a post Dreamforce loop. So I came on a Dreamforce with a lot of books to read. I think I mentioned that.
You did. I didn't.
Okay. Everybody gave me books. I bought a bunch of books. Amazon made a killing on me over, and I went in to go look at all the books that I read, and I saw a book that I was like, oh, but there's a book I've wanted to read for the longest time that I've owned for almost 2 years or whatever. Read it. So I started into Steve Jobs, and I'm now on chapter 7 or chapter 8. And part of my brain is going through this process of connecting Steve Jobs' early life and his history and how he became who he was. And I think I said this in the thing, I will miss that I never got to see Steve Jobs live in person at an event doing his thing. And I feel like that really bugs me because I always wanted to do it and I had planned to do it. And of course, this is why you should always do things when you can, not because I had chances to go to WWDC and I just didn't. So I say, to me, Mark Benioff is that. He's that embodiment. Like in 20 years, we will talk about Mark Benioff like we talk about Steve now, right? Right now, he's in the midst of his career. He's not even 50 years old. So he's got another 10, 20 years to make hay with what he's doing. So I think we're going to look back and see that. But in that session where he just got up and talked, and he is brash. He drops F-bombs.
He's funny.
He is funny. He's personable. You can see he both rules with an iron fist, but with a sense of fairness. And I think when we talk about this next topic, it's not a corporation built around, old school rules. He is trying his hardest even with 10,000 people. He's trying his hardest to keep this small company feel. And I think he's struggling with it, but he has this still brash guy who's like just a guy. And some of the things he said in that session were, the comparison, for those who missed it, he made a comparison of Bill Gates' happiness now after he's left and started all these charities to when he was at Microsoft. And he said, when he was at Microsoft, he was like this troll, like, sell Windows, rah. And everybody laughed. And then he said, and now he saw him recently and he said, man, you look happy, you look good, you have this huge smile on your face. Why? Why are you so happy? And he goes, well, last year I saved 10,000 lives. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, well, through my organization. And, I think he's fighting malaria as one of his big charities. And he said, I saved 10,000 lives last year. And he said, and I now, and then Benioff sort of started to talk to the audience. He's like, that's how Bill Gates measures it. Not by how many Windows 98 releases or 95 boxes go out the door, but how many lives he saves. And then he said, I want to do that now. I don't want to do it when I leave Salesforce. I want to do it now. I want to build hospitals now. I want to build the one-on-one model now. He pinged and got on, didn't say it, but he was basically going after Twitter by saying, why didn't you guys do the one-on-one model before making all these millionaires, right? We announced that. We talked about that. Why didn't you build that into your thing? You would have had millions in a fund to help other people, but you just chose to keep it for yourself. And he's like, all these people making all this money, give it out now. Use the happiness now. Now's the time you have the most power. He reinvigorates out of all the Salesforce stuff that goes on and the little bugs and the things that we like or didn't like. And, we get caught up a lot in the minutia of Salesforce. He makes us, I think makes me believe again in sort of the company as a whole and sort of the core of who that company is, and beyond software and licenses and sales and whatever, that there is a core to Salesforce that is really special and unique, that I now, as someone who's been working around this company for 10, 11 years now, like, I enjoy that. I like that Salesforce is more than just a software or a no software company or cloud computing or mobile or whatever. There's a core to them. There's a quirky core. There's a fun core. And he is that. It will be tough to watch when he leaves and see if they can maintain it.
I agree. I mean, I've been to some of they keep changing the name, but the CloudForce customer company tours. Now it's going to be the Salesforce One tour, where he wasn't there. And he's not going to be at the one in New York in January that we'll be attending. And I don't even know if they're going to have a keynote, but the keynote at the last one was not great.
You said it was...
it was Vivek Kundra and actually Parker, who I think has stepped up his game.
I don't think he said it was Parker. I thought he said it was... it was the other... someone else spoke at the partner one you thought was much better. Peter Coffey spoke at partner one. He said it was amazing.
Peter Coffey spoke at the partner one, and he's a great speaker.
Right.
He should actually do these big events else that are not Mark. It should be Peter Coffey, in my opinion. He's really very
not Mark, or not Parker.
I think it should be Peter, or well, if it can be Mark,
Peter
sure.
Parker?
If it can be Mark, great. That's great, but he can't be all places at all times. So they're spreading it out now so much that I didn't think Vivek and Parker did the greatest job. Although I think maybe now that Parker's been thrown into this a little bit more, he's gotten better, because he was as good as I've ever seen him on the Dreamforce opening keynote.
Yeah,
I've never seen Parker that good.
I thought he liked being. I think he likes being in a role.
Well, he's usually the straight man to Mark. In this instance, he got to play the opposite.
Right, he got to be the funny guy. I thought it was okay. There was a point when I was looking at it, I was a little. It felt a little bit just.
When you think about a corporate keynote for an opening of a technology, I mean, it's not exactly. It's a little hokey,
well,
right?
They've
you got
seen
him
this
out
stuff
there
before,
as
though.
Emmett Brown.
I've seen Microsoft come out and what's his face bounce around
Ballmer
for 10 minutes saying developers. I've seen stuff like this before where they'll come out. What's his face came in with Google Glass? Didn't he come in? Didn't he have a guy come down with Google Glass on wearing it? He came in on a parachute, and they parachuted in. They were showing it live. I mean, there is a point at which you're trying to make a splash. Again, I thought it was good. I just wish
it wasn't splashy. It was just fun.
Well,
it was just
Tesla
fun.
And come on, that's splashy. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's move right along.
Also on blog.arkusinc.com when it comes up.
That was just our Dreamforce recap.
Well, there's another article, another blog post by the person who should never be named, but has been named, about keeping the momentum going.
Keep it going.
And we do this after every one because I think one of the things that's tough about us as a big conference like that is that you get all this stuff in your head, and then you come back and you get back to life, and then you feel like, oh, how do I implement or how to keep this stuff going? Mm-hmm. And so the man, the myth, the legend, who shall not be named, went over a few of his ways to keep the stuff going. So that's up.
He's named. I mean, it's in the blog post. He also, one of his big things was the personal wellness last day of Dreamforce. He's very into that, and he actually took the idea and went to the success community and created a chatter group called Wellforce. So you can actually go in there, click on the collaboration tab, and search for the group called Wellforce, and he's going to keep that personal wellness conversation going in there. Throwing inspirational quotes, books to read, all sorts of little personal wellness tips and tricks all throughout the year. He's going to keep it going in there.
Awesome.
It's a good place to keep the conversation going, by the way.
It is a good place to keep the conversation going. So I'm actually looking at a cloud outage as we sit here. It's not just us. It's a whole node is down.
Oh,
so
Rackspace.
That makes me feel better, actually.
Makes me feel a little better, but they're on it, right?
They're on it.
They're on it.
Their
support is excellent.
Their support is excellent. Everybody should take a. I did get to talk to a high up person at Dreamforce, who I will not name.
Yeah.
Who we talked about some of their challenges at Salesforce.
With support?
And they said support is something that we definitely know is we have to get better. And he did give me some insight into where they were putting their time. And it's a lot of just bringing it back in-house. Like it's a lot of getting away from these outsourced places that they can't read English. So
you grow so fast as a product, you have to support it. And you're just growing so fast, you just need bodies. You feel like you need bodies, but what you need is quality bodies.
Quality bodies is the name of my new workout tape.
It's a good band name.
It's my new
Quality Bodies.
Quality Bodies, our workout tape.
It's like an 80s Evo kind
Hit
of band.
me with your quality bodies. So first of all, rank, you have been to 6 now. I have been to 7. I've done the math. I actually have a spreadsheet now of all the ones that I've been to.
Have I been to?
That's your 6. Yep. It's my 7th, so it's got to be your 6. There's no way.
That's right. It is 6. I
There's
just
no
counted.
way. I know it is because I'm 6. I mean, unless I skip a year, I'm always going to be ahead by 1.
You're always
that was
gonna
my
be ahead.
7th. Rank that one. What do you think?
Rank it like
In terms of
from 1 to 7?
just
Or 1 to 6, I should say.
Like where did it rank? Like just give me a feeling where did it rank
Top,
from all of them.
Top 2.
Top 2. So it was your second favorite Dreamforce.
Yeah,
of all time.
my favorite Dreamforce of all time will forever and always be my first
Your
Dreamforce.
first, yes.
But since my first Dreamforce, this was really good.
Yeah,
I had a lot going for him this year. It was really very well done. When you think about how big it was,
Please make it smaller.
it didn't feel.
It doesn't feel any bigger than last year.
It
at
didn't
all.
feel any
It's
bigger.
30,000 people. I didn't feel 30,000.
Yeah,
people.
I mean they did a nice job with it. I still can't say that anything this big will ever be better than my first one. My first one, there were only like 7,000 people.
I can tell you
Much
exactly
better.
how much there were.
Much better. To me, it was only in Moscone North and South, not even West yet. So at that time, I thought it was just a much more consolidated feel. The breakout sessions were a lot more meaningful because there were less of them. There's just so many now. You don't even know which ones to go to. And I find it hard to actually plan.
The first was 2008.
2008, yeah.
14,000 people.
Really?
Attendees, yeah.
That's a lot, actually.
Yep.
Mine
was the year before
I
at
feel like it's
7,000.
very, very hard to figure out which sessions to go to. A lot of overlapping sessions.
That was Foo Fighters, right?
I went to Foo Fighters. Yes, that's correct.
I have a
That's
spreadsheet.
how I remember it,
No,
the
I have a
band.
spreadsheet now with all the years and everything in it because we know what we reference it so often. I'm like, I need a
I
spreadsheet
just
of every
reference it
single
by
one.
the band. This was the first Dreamforce that I've gone to that I did not go to the Global Gala concert.
It is the first one that I did. Wait, no, I didn't go to any of them.
You've never gone to the concerts.
So for me, it's number one.
Isn't your number one Dreamforce?
It's a little bit tacky to say Salesforce One, my Dreamforce One. It was though, and it's not just the Dreamforce conference. It's also me and my position at Arkus and my going. I think I spoke, but I spoke at the right time, and it was the right
too.
session.
I
was excited to do it. The events that we held as Arkus, I thought were great. The way the conference rolled out, I felt like was the best for me personally, and the way I felt about, again, my position as a member of the community for my 7th Dreamforce, I felt the best about. It was a reunion for me. It was walking around seeing people, and I had a great time. From everything from seeing people who I haven't seen in 2 years to people who I saw last month, and it was really the best one. So Salesforce One, Dreamforce One, first one was very good, but it was just too much. It was like I look back and I was freaked out. Like I was just totally freaked out. All right, well, there was a controversy, like all good Dreamforces.
Yep.
There was a controversy, and it was about the hackathon.
Yep.
And I don't think we've talked about the hackathon.
We have not.
But since we can go over
I mentioned it in my blog post, though.
Yes,
I
you
also
did.
mentioned the controversy as well.
And the controversy was that at the end there were they gave $1 million away. Well, first of all, let's back up. In typical Benioff fashion, the third place prize or the fourth place prize or whatever it was $5,000.
It was 5. There were top 5.
It was 5, 10, or 5, 15, 25, $1 million.
It was 50. There was
50
a 50
million.
in there.
Anyway, in typical Mark Benioff fashion, as he opens them up, he's like, how about we give, instead of $5,000 for the team, how about $5,000 each person? So he did that going up. And the joke is, we joked that at the end, at the last person, is he going to do that for the top 2 teams, or the teams that win? Like the guy who gets $1 million, are they going to give $2 million, one to each team member? Well, the joke is they gave it to one group. They had shown that app before. It became a controversy. It didn't really break the rules. But what I think in a great PR, they come and they say, okay, we give the top 2 teams $1 million. So they actually gave $1 million to both.
They strongly said they did not cheat.
Right.
But we get it. We're listening. We're hearing you. And we are going to declare the top 2 teams co-winners. And both teams will get $1 million.
That is correct.
Yep.
And
by the way, those 2 apps, all the top 5 were really great. But those top 2, I think we sat there and said those are the top 2.
Yes. One just had a
really,
piece behind
really
it that was really just amazing. But I think next year they need to be a little bit clear. We even didn't understand, like, were the rules that you had to write it just sitting there in that room for 3 days, or was the rules?
We didn't know the rules because we didn't know the rules, they
Right.
weren't sitting there explaining the rules to you as they were announcing winners.
They did tell you how it was done. They showed you the time-lapse video, so it felt like it had to be done there.
That wasn't the
with
rules,
the new
though.
APIs, which was the rules. The rules was you have to build something with the new set of APIs that we just released. So if we had walked in and said, we're going to take the permissioner and make the permissioner mobile, by the way, it's coming, and did that over those 2 days, right? Mm-hmm. Then we could have been in the running. Like,
right.
We could have done it because we taken something that existed, but we made it, and maybe we added in some mobile one stuff, some flair, buttons and things. So anyway,
I thought the 2 apps that won were very deserving.
Yes.
One was, you can read all about it, but one was called Upshot. That was the one that won originally.
Won.
And had one of the most amazing user experiences I've ever seen for building a Salesforce report. And it was done on a phone. It was just the easiest way I've ever seen to build a report. Using natural language, just talk into the phone and say, closed opportunities, and it built a nice report with a graph for you. Pretty cool.
Right.
The other one was called Healthcare.love, which was
a take on
a little spin
.gov.
on .gov, and did basically what Healthcare.gov, with probably not really actually working, more vapor than anything, but it looked really good.
Yeah, it was more of how we could have made this a very easy system to do. Healthcare.gov's issue, and I don't want to get into a political thing, has absolutely nothing to do about the front end.
Yeah.
There are 55 different systems behind it that it's talking to.
Right.
And that's where it's failing. It's failing by scaling to 55 different systems. And all you need is one system not to work. And as someone, again, I used to work in systems where we were handling that kind of scale. You need a lot to go on. So I thought it was the coolest
a really
looking
nice UI. It
Right.
was
It was
a
beautiful.
brilliant UI.
Right.
It looked great.
But I feel like
looked
you could have
great
done
on
it
an
in Flash.
iPad.
It didn't look like anything. It didn't look like Salesforce. It wasn't Salesforce.
No,
to me.
it didn't
You
look
could
like
have done
Salesforce
Flash.
at all.
You
But
could
I
have
think
done
that
it in
was
Plum.
the point.
But couldn't I have just done that in Squarespace and called it healthcare.gov?
Sure, probably.
Love and said I did it here
Probably.
too.
They were.
You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't. The other one was saying a Salesforce technology.
It was a Salesforce technology. But I think the point was, here's a platform. You don't have to just use our platform to build it. Doesn't have to tie into a Salesforce application. Use a Salesforce platform.
I guess.
Application.
What part
platform.
of the platform did healthcare.love use? You don't know.
Site.com. Who knows?
You don't know.
You really don't.
It could have been a bunch of HTML. I assume that they checked it out. But anyway, but funny enough, then it comes out that that Benioff had offered to help out the White House for free to fix healthcare.gov, and they
not fix it, like host it, like
no,
it's ours.
Cloud computing guru Mark Benioff offered to fix healthcare.gov for free, and the White House said no
and run it.
Yeah,
meaning he wanted to run it
Yeah.
on Salesforce or on Force.com or on Force One or whatever you want to call it. As it turns out, he still did. I think he did assign a couple of employees to go help.
Oh, really?
With the situation. I don't know how that's going to work out if it's not built on Force.com, but whatever.
It's funny that I tweeted this out, and then someone tweeted back at me because it says, here's the sentence. It says, Benioff is considered one of the fathers of cloud computing. The site he founded, Salesforce.com, is a website that helps large companies interact with their. So BusinessInsider.com, learn the difference between a site and something that's just not a site. You have a site. BusinessInsider.com is a site.
Right.
Salesforce.com is not a site.
No.
It's no more a site than...
Well, Salesforce.com is a website.
It's not a site.
Well, it is a website.
It's not the site
if you go to
founded.
www.salesforce.com, you will land on a website that describes a product.
The site that we founded,
Yeah.
no. Facebook, it's a site.
Arkusinc.com, that website that we founded.
That website we did not found. We're watching it maybe slowly come up. It's still rebooting.
All right.
The node is still
It'll
down.
get there eventually.
It's not us.
Maybe by the time this podcast
Which is
over.
good. It's good that's not us. Maybe. Well, you can listen to the podcast
good that
anyway
we-
because you should subscribe
Yeah,
on
we
iTunes.
we don't
because
host this on our
we hosted
server.
a Cashfly. This podcast not brought to you by Cashfly. No. All right. And then lastly, let's leave this for next week.
All right, let's leave that. You want to get to our picks?
Let's get to our picks.
I got a cool pick.
It can't be any cooler than mine.
This is pretty cool.
All right. Well, maybe it's cooler.
So I'm in a taxi the other day
Okay.
on Tuesday,
taxis.
and I'm on my way home.
Okay.
And on the screen, in New York City, we've got every taxi's the same. It makes you realize when you go to other cities, like not everyone's got this great like taxi system that we have here. All the cabs are the same, and it's nice. In San Francisco, it's kind of all over the place. But we got these screens in the back, right? And they're playing entertaining things and whatever, and you can pay with the credit card on the screen. And all of a sudden, I see this little ad because the company that runs those screens is called Verifone.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, Verifone has an app called Way to Ride. And that's Way, and then the number 2, Ride, all one word.
Yes.
And it's a way to pay. Instead of paying with your credit card, you go into the app on your phone. You say, I'm in a cab.
Yes.
You then hold up your phone to the screen's speaker. It then recognizes which cab you're in.
That is
And
the
then
coolest app ever.
when you get out of the cab, you've paid. You put in your credit. It stores your credit card. You store your default tip amount.
0.
And
Sorry,
then when as soon as the cab turns the meter off, boom, paid. It just shows up on the screen, paying via Way to Ride, because you basically are checking into the cab. It is by far the easiest way to pay for a cab. It is. They have a button on there for I need a cab that they're integrating.
Oh, that's
like
great for our
a
neighborhood.
hailing service.
That's great.
So this in New York City, at least, I don't know where else this is really working. It also has a built-in a wallet, so it has your credit cards in there,
Right.
and it has a history, so you can go in there and see every
what cab you took?
every ride that you've taken.
Meaning you can all the
Your ride details. You can see a receipt. You can
Oh.
say, I lost something in the cab.
So
This is
good.
a fantastic application. I used it on my iPhone. It is free from Verifone. It is called Way to Ride. I highly recommend it
I'm
for
literally
anyone in
halfway
New York
through
City.
setting it up right
Yeah, it's so good. You're going to need... By the way, it's really easy to set up. You take a picture of your credit card, and it like OCRs the credit card number and everything for you. So as long as you have your credit card in front of you, you could take a picture of it,
Yeah, I'm gonna
and
leave
it
it
sets
right
it all
there.
up for you. It's really cool.
Awesome. Way to Ride, free by Verifone.
Free, it's great.
If you're a New Yorker, this is
Yeah, what a
unbelievable.
great way to pay for a cab. I mean,
I wonder if it's every cab.
it's Verifone-enabled cabs, which is pretty much all
I
of
think
them.
it's all of them. All right, cool. Very cool.
All the yellow ones, at least. There's these green ones now floating around, but I don't know about those.
My app is not even half as cool
Yeah,
as
you
that.
thought you had the cool
I thought I did. Well, Way to Ride just way to shut down my phone.
Didn't do that to me.
So my app, while my phone, this is not a good technological day for me. My phone just crashed.
Yeah, you're
my
having a
website crashed.
Tech fail.
Ooh, but you know what? It's nice to have a quick phone because it booted right back up again. My app is called What's Busy. And you're like, oh, there's a million of these, what's busy? But you know what the thing when you travel, and this is for everybody who's traveling over the holidays, I was going to do this as a post-Dreamforce one, like, oh, if you're coming back from Dreamforce. So it's very simple. It's a free app. You go in, you type in, it says, what airport do you need to know information about? You type in JFK or LGA or NWE, right? And you get back security wait times.
Ooh, I see. You're showing it to me like
I'll let
reds, yellows, greens.
Yes, and all the different gates. And
So I'm looking at JFK.
Yes.
And then the security wait time at different terminals for different gates.
And for different times.
And different times. So at this time, it's going to be this busy, 21 minutes or over. And at this time, it's 11 to 20 minutes. At this time, it's 0 to 10 minutes. This is good. It tells you when to get to the airport.
It tells you when to get, or what gates to avoid, or what places to not go.
Or if you're going to go to the airport, like, don't think you can just get there a half hour before and get in.
That's right. So, like, right now, early. Where terminal in JFK, Terminal 1, gates 1 through 10, it's at a 21-minute wait. But if you go to Terminal 2, the gate is 3. Or Terminal 5, it's literally 6 minutes to get to the. This is to get to the security.
Security checkpoint.
So
which
cool.
Is annoying.
So it's really giving you, if you're going. So when you know your terminal and your gates, you can go. Oh, we better get a little bit earlier because we're going to run into it. So this is going to make my list for next year for travel apps because I love this type of stuff. All right. Well, that wraps it up for today and us. Follow Justin at Just Edelstein. Follow me at Jason Matwood. Follow Arkus at Arkus Inc. on the Twitter. Facebook.com/Arkus Inc. We're in the Dreamforce portal group. We're in the success community group. Just search for CloudFocus. We're on LinkedIn, Google+. And remember to subscribe on iTunes, which is still your best place in the world to get our podcast. Leave a review there. That would be great. And until next week, we will be back. I don't know how many more we got for the rest of the year. Maybe 2?
I think we're looking at 2.
2 more.
That's it.
And then the year will be over.
Yep.
But until then, as always, Jake and Justin saying, enjoy those cloudy days.